And we started the timer too. Live now. Hello, everybody. It's Jonathan Harmon with the J Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams, with the Thanksgiving, the turkey edition of Table Talk, where there's always room at the table. And I've got two of the single most important people in my entire life, because my life didn't exist without them. I've got my parents. So I've got Tom and Susan Harmon here. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi.
How are y'all?
Great.
Wonderful.
Mom was like, I think I might start singing because I do better with a microphone in front of my face if I'm singing. I was like, that's awesome. Go for it.
They all right.
So Dad has been on my podcast before, back when we had Coffee Talk. Was that Christmas a couple years ago?
I think it was.
I think it was Christmas a couple years ago. And we had a good time. We had good conversation, as we frequently do. And usually it's him admonishing me for something stupid that I've done.
But I've learned to accept it back now. So,
well, I've done plenty of stupid things that you have bared witness to. So we don't need to tell all those stories this evening, that's for sure. But what we are going to talk about, with it being Thanksgiving week, I made a list, and I didn't prep you guys for this, so you got to shoot off the hip here. We're going to talk just about being thankful and gratefulness and gratitude, showing gratitude. And I didn't prep you guys for this on purpose, but one of the things, we're just going to dive right in, by the way. So, not following the normal format, you'll be fine. One of the things that you guys taught me forever, I mean, it's far back as I can remember, is kind of multifold here. Participating in your community, number one, and whatever that looks like. I mean, you built the castle at Smyrna Video, for example, and I'm like, I'll never forget that. Those sand boxes, or the bean boxes, or whatever it was, for Miss McCollum.
oh yeah.
What was it? Beans?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beans, for the kids to play in, and podiums for teachers, and I mean, just all kinds of random stuff. And Mom, you did the books for church for years. Yeah, for nothing.
Yep.
You didn't charge for that. You could have, but you didn't.
Right.
And just by example, you guys have shown me what it means to participate in your community. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard me say this before, but I don't use the term give back to your community. I just don't use that term. And my logic behind that is that insinuates, at least to me, that I've taken something from my community. In order to give back, I have to have taken something. Right. And I just don't see it that way. I see it as you're part of a community, and to whatever ability you have, you participate in it. And as you guys have gotten older, you've gotten more time kicking me and Jeremy out of the house. You tell me all the time that the best thing about kids is when they have grandkids, so that you can get rid of them.
Right. And
I think you've even told me that if you could have skipped the kids and gone straight to the grandkids, you
would have been perfect.
Yeah. So if you ever hear all these nuggets of wisdom from me, you know where they come from now. But you guys have filled that time with serving your community. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how you view that life of service. I want to talk about how you have taught that, whether it's purposeful, just by how you I just want to talk about that, because there's a lot of folks that watch this, that listen to this, that they want to participate in their community, and maybe they don't know how. Maybe they have the whole "we don't have time" thing, or maybe they're just not motivated to do it, right? And I've also learned that you can do anything that you want. So the whole excuse, "I just don't have time for it," it's false. It is, I don't want to make time for that. I don't want to give something else up in order to have time for that.
You'll find time for something that you want to do.
That's it.
Yep.
Whether it just be watch TV, but if it's something that maybe you should do, or, it takes you an hour to go out and do some kind of volunteer work, it's an hour that you don't watch television. And I use that because I watch a lot of television.
You do watch some TV. Well, you watch through your eyelids a lot of times.
A lot of times.
But, if it's something you really want to do, you'll find the time.
Yeah, and whether you make the time, right? That's
Right.
it's kind of semantics, or like you said, you don't do something else. So as Jeremy and I were growing up, Jeremy he was on the show a couple weeks ago. Did you guys y'all were young. You were 19 when I was born. And I mean, at that time, of course, it was young family, hold on for dear life. We got a kid, do whatever we can to scrape out a living kind of thing, right?
Yep.
But even then, I would say, just obviously, I don't remember when I was born. I was born at a very young age. And my guess is that if people needed help, you helped.
Yeah, a lot of help that we would have done in those days was more physical help.
Sure.
Because we didn't have a lot of money, obviously. So it wasn't easy to offer somebody some money, but it was easy enough to go. I mean, my big thing back then, I was still mostly into cars. So if somebody's car was broke, you go buy the parts and I'll fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's funny because,
or even a random stranger broke down on the side of the road.
I've done it. We've done it, and I never looked at it. It's just what you do. I mean, I never thought about it that way, And like I said, if friends showed up that needed their car fixed, I just fixed their car for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the biggest thing I think later in life that I learned is about expectations, and that is if you fix something for somebody or you do something for somebody, don't expect something in return because then you get disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you get something in return out of it, great. If you don't, then you're not, you didn't do it with that intention.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Mom, I know you kind of definitely along the same lines. I mean, you do all kinds of things now, whether it's working with Joe or it's, serving at the church or the overnight thing that I don't even know what that is exactly, but you stay up overnight, which is shocking to me that you stay up overnight because that's not my mom that does that.
I only have half the night.
Oh, okay.
We split it
Gotcha.
in half. Yeah, that's
normally like 7:45. You're about done.
I'm taking my nap so I can go to bed. Right. Well, I started out teaching Sunday school when you were little bitty, at the little church there in Port Isabel, and it's just continued since then. There's always usually been something church oriented for me.
Sure.
The thing that's staying up half the night is with a safe haven here in Murfreesboro, and the women and children come 2 Saturdays a month and spend the night at our church, and we feed them and we take them to church and just hang out with them. And it's just a nice, it's a very well organized group that does that, and I just enjoy that.
Well, and we haven't even scratched the surface. So, I mean, you guys have been involved with Citizens Police Academy in Smyrna for, I don't know, at this point, 100 years, maybe
22.
Yeah. And that organization has enabled you guys to volunteer in all kinds of capacities
For a lot of people.
Yes.
A lot of different organizations.
Big things, little behind the scenes things. I mean, y'all are putting together, I'm actually keeping you right now from putting together baskets to go to all the EMS stations and fire halls and all the police, all the way to your absolute favorite, traffic control at the 4th of July, which is just a blast. I've participated in that.
And our group has gotten to a point where we've reached out to other agencies even. I mean, we've helped with DUI stops and we've assisted the FBI in some stuff at one point. And our group has grown from 6 or 8 people to 40 people, and it's just, that's definitely a group that you're giving back because you're not getting paid. You're not getting anything. It's definitely all volunteer.
Well, and then, so let's talk about the 4th of July fireworks for a second. Okay. So for those of you that are not familiar with the Smyrna 4th of July extravaganza, the firecrackers as it was,
we're the ones that get cussed
all the time, and you're inhaling gravel dust, and it's
900 degrees
fumes off of the car. I mean, it is miserable. miserable. I've done it twice, and that was 2 times too many. It was absolutely miserable. My question is, and this is for those people that are out there, and this is what I really want to hear from you guys individually. Why do that? Why serve your community in that capacity when, I mean, you literally, you said it, you get cussed in some of those cases. So why do it?
Who else is going to do it? I mean, that I would say every year when it's all over, we're never doing it again. Never going to do it again. And then the next year comes around, the sergeant comes and says, Sergeant Miller says, "Hey, y'all are helping again, right?" And it's a I don't know. I part of it is because I think in a way I kind of enjoy doing it. For me, it's a organizational thing, and it's not just the people, but you do get cussed, but we've had in the past couple of years, especially now, obviously not last year, but the past few years, I've been surprised at how many thank yous we've had.
Yeah.
Because there are enough people out there that realize you put 10,000 people in that place, it's going to take a minute to get out.
We're talking about the Lee Victory Park.
Lee Victory Park.
For those of you that aren't aware.
So,
which there's only one actual entrance and exit to prior to right now, basically.
Well, we've always had a gravel road out the back that we've used. It's only ever been used for 4th of July.
Exactly.
And then the front, but it's, I don't know. It's the right thing to do, I guess, or, it's a way to give back. And like I said, we talk about it all the time. A lot of the stuff that we do, you don't get paid for it. You get cussed for it, but there are, of those that cuss, there's that many more that thank you for it, and it's just, we've gotten so involved with that one group. That's what we concentrate on a lot. But like you said, we've spread out. So we do other things, even though a lot of it's through that group.
Mom, what's in it for you? I mean, like, Dad's weird, so he doesn't mind the confrontation and all that kind of stuff. But what's in it for you? Why do that?
I enjoy watching the little ones come through there, and you can see that they're so excited. They're waiting for fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they're going home, they can't hardly hold their eyes open because they've run, they've played, they've eaten junk food and seen all these beautiful fireworks, and they've had a good time. They don't care that it's 85 degrees in the shade.
Right, or 45 minutes to get out of the park.
Right. They could care less. They're asleep in the back seat. But it's watching those young families.
Mm-hmm. Making memories.
Yeah.
Building memories.
Building memories.
Yeah. So you got other folks out there. They're, kind of on the fence. What are some other ways that folks can serve? Like, what are some things that you guys enjoy doing to serve your community?
Well, in the past, we've been involved, like with the Harley dealership when they do their toys, the toy run.
Mm-hmm.
Where you bring in a toy and then they take them all to one of the missions.
Changed over the years.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure
different
now.
places.
I think it started with Toys for Tots. I don't know if
Yes.
that's who they still do.
I don't know.
And there's that. We've done that several years.
You could do, and like I said, you don't always think of it as money, but there's some angel trees out there. You boys were involved in that. We did through where we used to work at Croslands. We used to do take care of a family, which meant buying food and all. We helped with the Smyrna or the FOP, the local FOP lodge, and do the shop with a cop for the kids every year.
Yeah, talk about shop with a cop, because that'll be coming up pretty soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right after the kids get out for Christmas break,
Mm-hmm.
we'll take. They're vetted through the I don't know what she's called. Shirley
Key.
Yeah.
She was our J. Harmon Home Team Hero of the Month this month, by the way. Shout out to Miss Shirley.
Yeah.
Great lady.
Great lady.
Mm-hmm.
She does all the work of making sure that
Identifying.
Yeah, the need. And then we start at 7:00 in the morning at the Walmart in Smyrna, and the kids will come in. They get hooked up with a police officer. They have a kind of a list. They have certain things that they have to buy, and they've got a certain amount of money they can spend. And
They each get a warm coat. That's
They
always
either
a
have to
thing.
get a coat or a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they can get toys. You have some of those kids that buy things for mom or for a sibling.
That is always, man, that gets me every time. The kid has X number of dollars and they get one little thing for them, and then they spend all the rest of it on brothers and sisters and mom.
Yeah.
It's it's hitting me right now.
there was one that our colonel chief friend, that he was with the THP at the time, and he had a little boy, and the little boy had a list, and on that list were names and what he wanted, and finally
Nothing for him.
And finally, he looked at him and said, "This is for you. You're supposed to be shopping for you. Oh, but these people need this." So it was one of those things that, okay, fine, we'll go buy him things.
Yeah.
He got his things. We as a group went and bought other things.
Yeah.
So that
I love that.
It got to our friend. That was the first year he was there.
And he's a big, tough ex highway patrol and chief of a small town around here, and it just got him. He'd never seen anything like that, and he's got 6 or 8 kids.
Yeah.
So there's always one of those on that.
I think that's
day.
the big thing there. It's not even I don't want to say it's the satisfaction of what we do. It's the stories, the other stories that you hear when you realize that even if you are, not very wealthy, or you don't have a lot of money, and you're scraping by, and then you hear some of these people and you think, I got it made.
Yeah.
I'm not bad at all.
The grandparents that are raising 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah. Shout out to Gma on that. She was one of our heroes a couple months ago, and it was one of those situations where, parents said, "Here you go, I'm out," and she's raising them and simultaneously taking care of her parents,
Right.
that are aging and
multi-generational.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We've seen it. And, and you're like your mom said, there's always that one. It seems like every year there's at least one that just pulls at your heart. And then it's the little things that that God has stepped in somewhere, because, like we had a fella that was raising his daughter, granddaughter, and great-granddaughter, and he was on fixed income, living in housing, and he had them all, and there was no males because they were all the great-granddaughter was young, the other 2 were adults, and they were scraping because the one girl was sick, she couldn't have a job, the other one did work, and then the other girl obviously was in school, and we bought him some extra groceries that year. It was before we started buying extra groceries for him too, and I had $20 or $25 of money left, so I just took it as cash and I handed it to him, and I said, he goes, "Well, what am I supposed to do with this?" I said, "I don't know.
Pay a bill, whatever you need to do.
Put gas in your car,
He said,
whatever."
He said, "My car is out of gas, and I wasn't sure how we were even going to get home if I had enough gas."
Wow.
So, and here's this man that was probably at that time, he was probably my age then, and he didn't even know what to say, because you handed him a gift with no expectations, and it just so happened it was exactly what he needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So real quick, let's do this. So Shop with a Cop is coming up. There's a couple of ways that folks can contribute to that, right? So they can donate directly to, is it Stones River Lodge?
Stones River Lodge. I don't remember the number.
89 or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. We'll try to get that put up on in the comments. And the other way though, something fun, right? Tip a Cop.
Tip a Cop is coming up. That's on the 9th, I think, of December. And it starts at 11 at the Tots in Smyrna.
Good food and fun.
Good food and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get waited on by a police officer.
The cops come and serve you, and then you tip them, and the tips go to
Shop with a Cop.
Shop with a Cop.
Well, and they can also then, after shopping on that December 21st, I think it is this year, then we all go to Life Point.
Mm-hmm.
And we take all those gifts and we wrap them.
That's right.
And put them back in boxes so that they can then be delivered the the next day to the family. That's a little hard sometimes for those children that have shopped and they don't get to take it home.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
There's exactly one way to give back that takes nothing but showing up for a couple hours, and that's coming out to wrap presents.
Yeah. I've not done that. I did it once, and I'm terrible at it.
We have lots of people that show up to do that just because they've done it year after year after year. And you don't need anything. I mean, you might bring your own scissors, but we've got scissors and tape and paper, and you just
Does that make you a wrapping paper snob if you show up with your own scissors?
No, I think it makes you smart.
Well, and then on Christmas Eve, we do the
Christmas Eve morning.
Christmas Eve morning, we go and deliver boxes of food to all the
senior housing.
Mm-hmm. And that's about 600 now.
No,
400.
It's not quite. Yeah, it's somewhere close to 400 now.
Mm-hmm.
There's four areas that we deliver food.
And these are the Smyrna Housing Authority senior housing.
Yes.
Smyrna housing.
Yep.
Sean Lee is the guy that heads that up, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. And a lot of times
something lovely is happening, Trent. Anyway,
a lot of times we find out that we may be the only people those older people see at that time of the year.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. One of the things that through the last several years, as I've talked to different folks, we're going to have Ed Grimes from Murfreesboro Rescue Mission is going to be on the Murfreesboro.com podcast next week. Is that right? And I remember interviewing him several years ago, and homelessness is obviously a problem, right? And it's becoming more significant in our area. And in talking to Ed, a lot of the folks that are in that situation have definite issues that have landed them there, so to speak. But one of the most interesting things that he taught me in that conversation is not necessarily handing somebody money, but actually looking at them, talking to them, addressing them as a human being will improve their day. And obviously I'm generalizing here, but he said that helps almost more than anything else. So to your point with the seniors, the same thing, just validating that they're humans
and listening.
Yeah.
I think that, the seniors and on that level, the seniors and the homeless, the same thing. Instead of driving by a street corner, which I have my own thoughts about street corners and who's really homeless and who's not. But
sure.
If you meet somebody and you really think that they have the need, take them and get them a hamburger or bring them back a hamburger. Don't just hand them $5,
But more importantly, talk to them.
Talk to them like a person.
Address them.
Yeah.
You just talking to them instead of, they might be dirty. They might even smell, which,
I smell half the time.
It is. I mean, those are just things. So, but just talking to them, and because of where my job takes me in some of the areas of Nashville now, I see people like this, and financially, again, maybe I can't help them that day, but I still speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
Something runs in the family, but I speak to everybody. But you say hi to them at least. And
acknowledge their existence.
Just acknowledge that they're alive, it's there. And that's what we run into with the seniors, the same thing. And now after several years of doing this, we'll have some of them waiting at the door Christmas Eve morning because somebody's coming to speak to them. And you might be the only person spoke to them all week.
Mm-hmm. Or longer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And I think that's what's important. And that's what I really wanted to hit on tonight is that there's so many ways that you can serve your community that involve money, that don't involve money, that don't even have to be all that uncomfortable. Just being present, paying attention, looking around you and identifying some way that you can treat somebody else nice.
Even if it's just saying to the cashier at wherever you're checking out, instead of giving them a hard time, to say, you're doing a fine job, something positive. Them.
Well, I read an article one time. It's been a long time where it talked about, I forget how they studied it, but basically.
I read an article once.
You did?
Yeah.
How was it?
I don't remember.
But it basically said that cashiers and bank tellers, specifically, cashiers at fast food restaurants and bank tellers, and especially drive-through cashiers, in both of those positions, have some of the lowest job satisfaction because nobody treats them like a person.
Right.
Yeah.
That when they do that job, it is
machine.
Exactly. Yes.
We really saw it in the grocery stores this past year, almost 2 years now, I guess. But and I being who I am, I have intervened on a few. But when the big great toilet paper shortage was happening last year, people were cussing the cashiers because we didn't have toilet paper in the stores.
Like they had anything to do with that.
That's exactly what I tell them. I say, ma'am or sir, they have nothing to do with that.
Nothing.
Now, if you'd like to talk to a manager who also has nothing to do with it, but I can bring them down here. These people are just here to get their money and go home. They don't deserve to be treated like that. And it aggravates me. And I guess as I've gotten older, it's gotten worse. But sometimes you just have to step in and say, no, that's not what's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking anybody to go out and get in a fight either. I'm not looking for that myself, but still sometimes some people, they need somebody to stand up for them.
And, gaining perspective on that, I wonder sometimes for that person that does do that does cuss the cashier because they ran out of toilet paper, there's something missing in their life too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There is.
Because it's
maybe
not
they just be having a bad day that day.
Sure. Yeah.
But
so
sometimes being politely told, hey,
you pull it down a notch.
Then it makes them rethink of what's making them do that. And maybe they might just be repeating something they've seen and go, oh, that's not right.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
you like to hope.
Yeah. And it's like a geyser, right? It squeezes and squeezes until
it explodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are some other ways that folks can get involved? Not just this holiday season, but some other things that you guys are aware of that folks can get involved. And then I've got one more thing. We're going to shift gears just a little bit. Okay.
Churches is one of the first places to look. And then you have, like you said, we have a mission in Murfreesboro, I believe, but the Nashville Rescue Mission. If you're not working and you got time to do something, go down there and serve food. We have, and I'm terrible with names, but we have a couple of places back over here.
You got Greenhouse Ministries. You got Journey Home.
Journey Home. That's what I was thinking.
Hands of Grace. I mean, there's all kinds of them in Murfreesboro. You
go out and look for nonprofits, and Murfreesboro is full of nonprofits. They
really good ones.
Yes.
Well, and this
and
I want to say this county, not just this city. The county is very good at that. They do a lot of that. But a lot of times, like I said, you can go to some of the churches. The church that we attend is real big about volunteer work. They very much believe in that.
Well, and I took Jonas one Saturday to a second harvest.
One of the mobile pantries?
No, we went to the warehouse.
Oh, to the warehouse.
On Elmville Road.
Packed boxes.
Shout out to my friend Taylor Loyal over there.
Yeah.
We went
another handsome bald man.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's so hot in here. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, they also do the mobile pantry. I don't know if you've ever seen those before, where they pull in a tractor trailer and set up like a market right there in a parking lot, and folks drive through and they just get boxes of food. It's a lot of fresh produce.
I think at that time we were doing boxes to go to Katrina or
probably not Katrina.
Houston.
Yeah.
Not Katrina.
That was before he was born.
Yeah. But they were going. It was
Houston.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that.
I've got friends that do the mobile pantry up in Clarksville area. So there's just so much out there that's takes a couple hours of your day to, even on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can go out and do something simple like that. So at churches and schools, if your children are in schools.
Laverne Middle School tomorrow, I think, is doing a feeding project. They do it every year. And they'll feed. It's no questions asked. You just, if you need a meal, come through.
And, next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. And there's all kinds of, I've seen several different organizations where you can make donations to or help out.
I'm going to talk about one of those in particular here in just a minute. But all right. So here's the challenge. We're going to shift gears a little bit. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. It's Thanksgiving. and we're going to go cliche a little bit, but it's fun. So aside from all the people in our lives, okay, so aside from, obviously, I'm thankful for you guys. Obviously, I'm thankful for my kids, thankful for Lacey. I'm thankful, all of that, right? Obviously. Okay. So that's off the table. All right. Can't do that. I'm sure at some level we're all thankful for our jobs. So we can't do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you thankful for, especially this week, right now, as we sit at this table? What are you thankful for? Dead air is bad, right?
I know.
We're not supposed to do dead air.
We're not supposed to do that, right? So it can't be my job. Can it be somebody at my job?
Yeah, as long as you can elaborate.
I can.
Go for it.
I have
Hey, name him by name too.
I'm very thankful for Virginia.
Virginia Papafotis.
Yep.
Love that lady. She's been so good to my mom.
She has, and she's retiring.
She is.
She is retiring.
That's good. She's a competitor and she's damn good at her job. So that's one out of the way.
Yeah.
I love you, Virginia.
Yeah, I do too. She and Joe are going to Florida, and I am just thankful that they're doing it at a time when they can still enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we'll miss her, but she has taught me a lot, and she's taught me how to treat people a lot, even if you don't like them, how to treat them. And she's just somebody I'm really thankful for that's in my life.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Virginia.
If we're doing that, thanking people.
We don't have to.
Well, two that come to mind, though, that probably had, if we exclude family, that had probably the largest influence on my life and the way, probably with the volunteering and giving back to your community, and being community oriented when you buy, would have to be Mr. Victory,
Coon Victory. Mm-hmm.
and Mr. Frank Carlson Jr., who has passed. But those two men, when your mother and I both went to work for them, we were in our 25 or 6 years old. And like I said, I worked for them 20 years, and your mom was 26 years with them. So they were, and we really didn't have a lot of family here except you boys and her sister, her mom and dad part of the time. But I didn't have any other family here. They were our family.
Mm-hmm.
And I still, to this day, consider family. I can see Mr. Victory out somewhere, and he probably taught me as much about people as anybody.
And participating in your community. Selflessly.
Yes.
Doing whatever you have the ability to do.
You do it.
He does it.
I got to know him well enough that even when he was not in a good mood, if you asked him, "How you doing, Coon?" Great. It was always great. So, and I've tried to keep that, where I do that. And your mom had an old boss that no matter what time of day it was, he would tell you morning. And I do that because especially in the afternoons, people go, it's not morning anymore. You've started a conversation.
There you go. Open the door.
Yeah. Those were probably the two.
Self-deprecation is a great way to open it. Oh, I'm just so dumb. I didn't even know.
The other thing, as long as we've gotten a little sappy here anyway, for me particularly, would have to be God and the fact that there's forgiveness. Because in the past 15 years, I've I've gotten forgiveness for a lot of things I did prior to that. And
you've accepted forgiveness.
Yes.
That's the thing. It was already there.
Yes. And it actually came up in a conversation with one of my coworkers today about that kind of stuff. And it made me think again. He got really deep into it. And I said, we've both been forgiven. And he goes to church and stuff. And I think as far as being thankful, that's one of the biggest things I'm thankful for, is that God, not only God's forgiven me, but your mother and your kids and friends and family, other folks, that the past is the past.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right. So I'm gonna take a turn now, but I'm breaking my own rules since I got y'all here. I am extremely thankful for you guys. And as I've looked back at how I've gotten where I am and what's led me here, all the twists and turns, you know, I moved out when I was 17, moved in with Uncle Chris, which that was a disaster in and of itself, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But anyway, bless our hearts.
College experience is
We
much
wouldn't
better.
do a
not
lot
at
of
home.
things if it weren't fun.
Oh, they were a lot of fun. And then, you know, took forever to get out of college and all of that. And I said this to someone the other day.
What were you, like an 8-year senior, something like that?
Nah, it doesn't matter, but yeah, somewhere around there. One of the toughest lessons to learn, I found myself at 25 years old going, I'm behind. Like I had all these friends that were having kids, they were getting married, they had real jobs, you know, and here I am delivering pizzas, you know, or working in a warehouse or whatever. And I discovered, it took several more years to gain this perspective that everything that I have done, every time that I laid the motorcycle down when I got it in the gravel, or when I ran into those stupid yellow poles with the old Lincoln, or whatever, when I backed your truck into that light pole and you just about murdered me.
That was bad.
Yeah,
That
it was so bad. But all of those things and all the crap jobs that I had, and you know, everything just kind of culminates. And you know what? You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Makes you who you are.
At any given moment, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Without a past, you aren't anybody.
Yeah. And everything, like the lessons that you guys taught me, one is you can be comfortable where you are, but not satisfied where you are. Okay. And there's a difference there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is, I'm okay. In other words, I'm not beating myself up for where I am, even if it's not really where I want to be. But I can also continue to push forward, even if it's just a little bit at a time, right? And sometimes you got to take steps back to go forward, right? Learn that from you guys. And you specifically, you already said it, talk to everybody. And this is one of the reasons that I back Spread the Positive. This is one of the reasons that I do this show, is everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story. 3-year-olds have stories. Ask them. They'll tell you. They're incredible, right?
They are.
And 85-year-olds have stories, lots of stories. And the homeless 42-year-old that twitches and smells bad has a story. And we can learn something from every single one of them.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And you guys taught me that. And I continue to push that through this handsome bald guy over here, who is incredible. Did you say you're crying? I love this guy. He cries. He actually cries more than me, which is something, because I carry a hanky in my back pocket because, well, it's what I do.
I understand.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's just, I wanted to get you guys here, tell some of your story, but then also to thank you publicly for helping me understand that. And, you know, if we get 2 people that watch, cool. If we get 50 people that watch, cool. But we all have a story.
Yep.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody.
And like I said, that's your past. Without that, you're not who you are. I mean, I took me a long time to figure that out. And some of those retreat weekends that I did and stuff that we've done, that's what took, you know, it's like, don't try to forget your past. You can't forget it, because if you do,
you're going to repeat it. If it's bad,
you repeat, you'll repeat it if you don't learn from it. And 2, take what you did learn and move forward, because you speak to Bob out on the street. Yes, I know. I like to use Bob's name. I don't even know who Bob is.
Or Lenny.
Yeah.
We got a live studio audience, by the way. Lenny and Salema.
You know,
that was clapping. I don't know if you guys could hear that, probably.
I guess, real quick, the best example I had was at one of those men's retreat weekends. I was what they call a table leader at the time. And I gave a talk that weekend. And I looked at my
Which
table.
you never would have done probably 5 years prior to that.
Oh, heck no.
Mm-mm.
No. And I've done several since. But I gave a talk, and it's more of a testimony kind of, and a talk too. But I had some guys at the table. I had a police officer, and I of all things, I had a preacher and a preacher's son-in-law. And I'm like, those guys are all way above me and they're better than me and this and that. And, I was looking around my table and I'm like, I have learned you don't ask God why he set those people at that table. There's going to be a reason. You're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
So we went through it all, and it was a 3-day weekend. And I guess it was on the third day at lunch. One of the guys from the table had been real quiet, hadn't said much. He's just kind of a big old guy, big country guy, real nice and always involved, but just didn't say much. And he come up to me and he goes, "Man, your testimony," he said, "are you sure we're not kin?" He said, "because everything you said is exactly what I've been going through." And he said, I'm at the beginning of your end. And I looked at him kind of funny. He said, "I've gotten past all of those other things, but I'm just starting on my journey forward." And he said, and he started crying. And this was a big guy. And I, of course, then I was boohooing with him, and I had no clue,
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you say good morning to somebody and they speak back and you get a chance to say 10 words, it may be the only thing they hear all day, but it may just make their day.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And Mom, the last thing, Dad tells me to talk to everybody, whether he said that to me or not. That's what he's taught me.
That's his example.
And I will tell you that what I have learned from you is the definition of unconditional love.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That's why. And it just the loyalty and you just do it because you need to do it. It's just what you do. That's you.
Yes.
And
whether it's work or job that she doesn't like, working with somebody she doesn't like, whether it doesn't matter. And there's so many people, she doesn't understand it sometimes, but there's so many people out there that I don't want to say idolize her. They look up to her, almost as a mentor or something, because of her willingness to just do what's right.
Mm-hmm. Every single time, even when it sucks, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you just plain don't freaking want to do it.
Yep.
Every time. And it's incredible. I had something really cool to say.
I don't think so, but that's just the way I am.
Well, that's definitely what I see.
That's what makes it real, because you don't even know you do it.
Nope. That's all I got. Trent, you got any closing words?
Thank you, Brian Nail.
Oh yeah. Dadgummit. I told him I would do it at the beginning. So my guy Brian Nail, by the way, is our underwriter. So Brian is with Iberia Bank Mortgage. He's the one that makes this show possible by supporting Spread the Positive. And if you are interested in supporting Spread the Positive, blah, 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 please let us know. We can get you on an underwriting package. We can get you in here to record a show. We can do all kinds of things. Hey, and I did, you mentioned Give Back Tuesday or Giving Tuesday, whatever it's called.
Something like that.
There is one organization in particular that I'd like to mention, and we have tons. You guys mentioned there's so many organizations here, but I had a conversation today with a very good friend of mine, and there's one organization in particular that just embodies selflessness, and that is, believe it or not, it is Murfreesboro Muslim Youth. My friend Abdu and I had a long conversation today, and guys, they need some support. And here's the thing, there is not an organization in Rutherford County that gives more than that group of kids. And it's a group of kids, y'all. That's what's so shocking about it. They organize it. They figure out what to do. They take it to Abdu and they say, this is what we want to do. And he says, figure out how, give me a plan. And they do it. They're serving 520 meals tomorrow and Thursday. 520 meals, a group of kids, 520 meals. My friend Trent over here and his mom are going to help them with that. So did you know it's 520 at this point?
I heard something like that. That's crazy.
Okay, because they started at 300. I thought maybe you got in at 300 and then they upped it and you're like, ooh. Yeah. And that's just one time. So they feed probably once a month. They do just kind of an all-call thing, 300 meals, no questions asked, just come and get a meal if you want to. They buy cars for single moms. I mean, people that are hard. I mean, it's incredible what these kids are doing. So if you have an opportunity, that is an organization that definitely will utilize the funds right here in Rutherford County for the people that you interact with on a daily basis. 100% of those funds go right back into the organization. It's incredible. So anyway, that's my plea for help. I told him that I would do that. Trent, I don't have my actual show notes. So what else do I need to say?
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Harmon.
You bet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got a good one here.
Yeah.
Where?
Pretty,
I had
pretty
good
responsible
teachers
for that. Yeah. So
I had good
salute
teachers.
to both of y'all. Thank you for everything.
All right. If you need anything real estate related, give us a shout. Be on the lookout for Cedar Glade Brews. We are short weeks
So close.
away. So close. And definitely go hit up Brian Nell. So thank you guys. I love y'all.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Have a great Thanksgiving.